Hey, Chad.
What's up, guys?
Mr. Shank.
Sounds good.
Oh, Andy. I want to. Just took mine off.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, we'll make Erickson look like the oddball. When
You didn't get the text.
It's all Cowboy Day, motherfucker. Wow, yeah. With the apple.
I just have mine flipped up with like a safety pin or something right here. I'll be the Festus.
The prospector.
Oh.
You're dragging a donkey into town. It looks like
It looks like we all shop at the same gas station.
Yeah, fill it up. What do you get?
Well, it's possible. I think Annie Letterman purchased this hat on the way to Death Valley a couple years ago.
Yeah, there's a couple of those places. I mean, everywhere they sell hats and going out to the desert, of course. So.
Yeah.
Get your hat, Erickson.
This is a Texas challenge here.
That was too quick.
Oh,
Actually, he's in Austin. He has to have a hat somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Within arm's reach.
Yeah, all right.
Oh shit. He's muted.
Hey guys. Howdy boys.
Howdy.
Let's start talking about how women don't already have too many rights. I think it's good we're finally tracking their periods. I've had a couple of.
Really, you can tell. You know what I mean? You don't even need to track them. You can.
There's other signs.
Say anything saucy, then you just know they're on the rag. Hi everybody.
Hi
guys.
Yee-hoo!
How did this hat thing come about? Was it a thing where you guys were going to pretend you talked about it in advance, and I was the only one who didn't know?
No.
Nailed it.
Yep. Well, I had mine on. Chad's was right behind him.
Mine was 3 steps and a hop away. So
Chad's really the only real one because he had his hat. He took his hat on to do the podcast. I put mine on to do the podcast.
Well, Chad's studio man cave there. He could also do anything like that thing at Let's Make a Deal. Where like I'll give you $50 for a safety pin. He's got everything in his immediate area.
$100 for half a pack of Tic Tacs.
Yeah.
I'll give you an 8-ball comedy
pineapple
poster.
Lifesaver.
We need a meditation singing bowl. I got one of those.
See right there. You'd be cleared up. Wayne Brady would lose it.
I have it. Yeah, I don't think I have one of those. I got my.
Who's in the background there, Andy?
Oh, I'm back in the room with my cat, my trusty cat at my side.
I was gonna say, it's a weird squirrel.
This cat I nabbed from neighbors when I was at an emotional low point, and then I saw this kitten running around, and I nabbed it for my own. Took it. It was I used the that
you stole a cat from the neighborhood.
Yeah, yes. I needed a cat.
Really didn't think he was gonna say yeah.
Yeah.
I thought there'd be some kind of flowery explanation.
I didn't mean that wasn't my intention, but when it came down to it, and in fact I was questioned, and I fucking lied.
So
I at that point had taken that. Huh?
You didn't know you needed a cat until you needed a cat.
Well, I was out by the garbage cans, and I saw this kitten running around, and I was like, and then I managed to grab her, and then I took her home, and then people, I didn't think I would get questioned about it. But this guy wanted.
Did they take you down to the station?
No, that was the good thing, man. Because I would have cracked under that. I would have said, "All right, man. Maybe I do know a little something about that cat." I think I alluded to, and I said there's a big raccoon out and about in this neighborhood. Which
instead of like it just ran away, you gave it. I took his cat result.
I took his cat, and I lied to him that I had it. And then we all just went on with our lives, and I kept it inside for about a year. Fucking there, man. And if you're watching this, and it's, I did it.
This is like the Jinx when he gives it up at the end.
Yeah.
All these years later on TV.
Someone
Yeah,
overhears
crime.
a live mic, a hot mic.
Right. If this were a kid, if it were, it's a cat, so people were gonna go, all right.
So
let's hear
what?
him out. It's not a child.
What did they questioned you? How did that go down? They come.
Yeah, just
over
asked
to
if
your
I'd
house
seen a
and asked-
cat. He asked if I'd seen that cat, little kitten around. Because a couple days earlier, I was down there and I nabbed the mother of this cat.
It was like, hey, have you seen that cat you probably stole?
Yeah, because
Andy, you are literally a cat burglar.
Yeah.
Well, this was this is a place a couple of houses away, and it was a shit show in the day. So I justify it by any kidnapper would. There she is. Look at it. She loves me.
So this cat had a terrible life, and you saved it.
She was headed for it's like I was Sandusky, and I saw this broken child.
I don't
And
know
I
if that's
like,
the analogy you want to go.
Yeah, no, not Sandusky.
Showering with the cat.
No.
No, the Sandusky setup was over there, but also this was a place that had pretty in the day they would have cats, and they would run around or be nuisances and go they didn't have it was like a place sublet, and like people living in a corner of an apartment, or a third of an apartment rather than apartment.
Yeah.
It was that kind of squalor, so it was like tweakers. And so I did, I can't prove it, but the guy at the door is like, he wanted that kitten, and I had that kitten, and I had it just said
He came to your door. It wasn't like
Mhm.
he was out looking for the cat and you were back out at your garbage cans for your nightly garbage.
Yeah,
can.
no, he come over to the door because
He knew where the cat was.
He knew where the cat
He
was.
clearly knew where the cat was.
Yeah,
We saw
Yeah,
you take
and
that cat. Do you have it? No.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's in that bag that's wiggling behind you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was I was a little
Oh, that's
worried.
my stomach. Oh man. That
I was a little
Taco
worried when I
Bell.
had to load it up in the car to take it to the vet to get fixed, because at this point had been missing about that was the first thing as a kidnapper. You want to get it fixed.
Get that microchip removed.
The guy that is after his kitten and his girlfriend and him argued a lot, so this cat would have seen a lot of shit.
How are you? Were they living next door to you? Did you share a wall?
No, it's like I have a house. This house that looks like this up on, it's just there's one right next to me, and then up the driveway at the very end of that, there's this place that's up until recently been just kind of fucking squalor, and I've had, I had problems with the owner of the other place. I had problems with the owner, but I also
You got
the
problems with
residents.
everyone.
There was always shit going on though. It was like
I'm
people fucking threatening to kill each other. I committed that burglary over there. I took all that weed.
A rash of
Wait a
cat
minute, Andy.
burglary.
People
Andy.
stealing cats.
Andy, yeah, you can't claim you needed to steal the cat because this place was suffering from crimes that you were committing to them.
No, I committed. Well, I
You
told the
can't
one.
make it so bad that it's right that you intervene.
There's a dead
People could
turkey.
break right in there and harm that cat. It's so easy.
I took an ounce of weed, but I told this story, and it was all in due revenge. Right, you guys heard that one. It was
I don't
the guy.
remember it.
The guy.
What was
So it's as it turns out, right now there's a dead turkey laying in the street below me. But anyway, there was this guy.
Like distraction. Let's get
Yeah,
back to the
it involves a dead
Put a pin
turkey
in that.
eventually.
We got to come back to that.
This
one for
guy,
sure.
this guy, we parked his creepy van down here. There would be overflow from the up above, and he parked his van down here. And one day I asked him, would he mind moving it? And before I could even get to what bullshit reason I had why I can't, it's not my driveway. I'd like to burn your van or whatever. I didn't say it's because it makes my wife and daughter uncomfortable that they might get pulled in and raped, or it's just a creepy van, and
Yeah.
but he says fuck off, like a secession. Fuck off. Real
Wait,
dismissive.
straight to fuck off.
Yeah. It's like I was like, hey, I live around here, and then fuck off. And he was a real edgy fucking douche nozzle. And anyway, some of the people up there were had a medical grow. I don't know. They were growing. I think this guy was a medical grower. Anyway, he wouldn't move his van, says fuck off. A few weeks later, I see what looks like a dead turkey in the road, and it turns out it's this guy who was riding down the hill, and his bike froze up, and he landed on his fucking head. And I got out of my truck and I was a first responder. Was right there.
Again.
I stopped my truck
Every time.
and then I saw it was a human being down, and his head was bleeding, and I took my shirt off, and as I approached him, and I was gonna offer it up, and then I saw it was the fuck off guy. He's gargling around all hey man, how's it going?
Your door unlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was fuck off guy, and I wasn't, I wasn't seeking, well, I was, it's like revenge. That's why they say revenge is best served cold. Because it's like, this was like way, I let it alone for a while, but here he was, and he was in the middle of the road. And so I didn't offer him my shirt. It was a pretty good, I like that shirt. So I didn't offer it. Somebody else came a little bit later and offered some relief on the bleeding. And then an ambulance shows up, and so he's coherent enough,
Who called the ambulance?
I guess there was a couple other
Not
cars
Andy.
stopped.
Not the
me.
first responder.
No, I wouldn't even put him in a more comfortable position. He was bleeding downhill. His head was downhill, and his bike was still kind of tangled, and I was like, I guess it helped. I mean, I didn't. I think I would have helped another person, but it was this guy, and he's like a fucking cunt, and he's so it's like, I didn't offer to untangle him. Some other people, they got him the bike pulled from him, but he still was prone, and there was somebody had a thing that was soaking the blood, or his head was resting against it, and then the ambulance showed up, and then the dude goes from and he was talking. I know he said some shit to people, and I go, hey, I go, or I didn't say, I don't think I didn't say it then. I saw so anyway, the ambulance was asking this guy his where are you coming from, stuff like that, trying to get, and he wouldn't respond, and they're going to
concussion.
Well, yeah, but he also didn't want to give up. He didn't want to give up his address.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he was playing dumb. But I was there, and I was like, I know
you were there.
I know where. I said, I know where he lives, and I can see him looking up, like a pro wrestler that's been, razor blading, the blood leaking down, and he's trying to plead with me with his eyes, and that's when I think I went fuck off.
That's when you gave, that's awesome.
Might have delivered him the fuck off, but I went to up there, and I go, and then I got his address, and I come down and gave him the address, and I go, oh, that's what I said. I said, oh, okay, Mr. Fuck off, I'm going to drag your bike up to your place there. And then the ambulance had this, his name and everything. I got a piece of his mail, and I brought it to him.
You broke into his
Yes, help. I was not helping, and I was helping. I was like, maybe I'm Spider-Man, maybe I'm not. So at his bike,
motive Spider-Man.
Yeah. So his
Venom, wouldn't it?
That's what his front wheel froze up, because I dragged his bike up, and then there was a duplex, so I went to notify the neighbor that that guy is not going to be around for a bit. he went
so
away.
You're delivering bad news to the neighborhood.
Well, and then
in the joint,
and then and this okay. I mean, it's been 5 years, whatever. This guy's moved on. It wasn't, but I went. I sleuthed his place. and I took about what was about an ounce of weed. He had it, it was all ready to go, and so I took it.
Wait, when you're talking about a bag of weed and you say it's ready to go, it was just in a bag.
Well, yeah. I mean, but right? It was, but I mean, he was processing weed, like that, Chad. Yeah, it was shelf ready to go. It was this was in the days before weed was legalized. So, we all were pirates of sorts. So, but this was the guy. And anyway, I went to the door, the neighbor's door. He wasn't there. And then I went to his door and it was unlocked. And I'm like, well, let's see what's going on here. I think I had some other justification for doing it, but I can't remember that now. I went in and I took that ounce of weed as a tax on carrying his bike up the hill, connect him with the paramedics and all, get things
with the paramedics. How did you do that?
I gave him the address.
Oh.
Yeah, he didn't want to give up his address, so I was like,
well, they were just going to leave him in the street if they didn't.
No, but I mean, they were. He was on the thing when he was on the already on the way it was
shaken out.
He was on the at all. He was already being transported.
That's a great story, though. I mean,
I don't remember that at all.
You don't. Dude. It gets weird. There's another level to it. So get this shit. So.
Wait, there's more.
This is fuck off. So fuck off guy comes back. I see him up by, so I go my mailbox and then I see him. He's coming. He's back from the hospital and he's got a Band-Aid on his head. Like his head was pretty, he was bleeding a lot of, it looked like, maybe there was some deeper shit going on there.
Should have been wearing a helmet, right?
What? Right. Yeah. Sketchy bike like that and all. And I mean, if I was a creep, I would have been responsible for the bike, but I was not. I just saw this guy fucking bleeding on the road and tried to help out as best I could. By helping him.
Nothing.
Well, I connected the dots so that the paramedics could bill. Or the ambulance could bill this guy.
I give you credit, Andy. I thought you would have went right over there while he was in the street and went in his house and stole his.
No.
You took it to another level. You fucked him financially as well. You made sure he was
He was a fucking asshole. All I was saying is like, could you?
I love it.
He goes fuck off, and so anyway, he comes back from the doctor. Maybe a day or two later or a day later, I hear a commotion over there, and I come out and it sounds like this guy, he's going, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and banging on the glass, shaking shit. And so I walk over by the garbage can, which gives me a view up to this where all this, where all the shit goes down over there. And and I had it dialed 911, and then I realized, it's fucking, there's somebody trying to get at this guy who Mr. Fuck Off, and with the van, and so I did not intervene. And last I saw this guy, the guy was still banging on his glass door on the deck, and then I could see him taking off, like heading down the hill, band-aided up and all. The guy was saying he's gonna fucking kill him, and you fucking owe me and shit like that. And
looking for his weed.
Yeah, you owed him for an ounce of weed that went missing.
That's exactly what happened. I think. I mean, I told that story to Augie, and he goes, "Man, you probably got him killed." And I go, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "The weed." And I go, "Oh yeah, that might be because it was just." Within that time period, so this guy showed up to get his weed and he didn't have it, or there's probably some other bad blood, but he was threatening to stab him and shit. And then the van was gone. And the guy was gone.
Yeah,
and if that's how if he's got the kind of friends that would fucking kill you over an ounce of weed, those are not your friends.
Right.
But problem solved.
So how does this connect up with you stealing their cat?
Well, this was the same house, but just different entity. But I've been involved, I've been involved with an overview of this house.
So
and he holds a grudge against the property.
The house.
It's like the Amityville horror house.
Act.
It doesn't matter who moves in, you're getting haunted.
Yeah.
So.
No, this guy Mario owned the place, and he was just a real fucking. People were always yelling, "Fuck you, Mario!" And he lived in one thing, and it was all these were like Craigslist and I've never been in. Oh well, I have been inside the house. Never mind. I was gonna say, but since it got sold and stuff, and I've heard that it was kind of the Winchester mansion where it was just like, you know, doors that didn't go anywhere and shit like that, like, you know, 20 years of tweaker occupancy. But it was like, you know, all these.
They were probably trying to deter burglars.
Yeah,
No problem.
So this Mario guy was like a local. I looked him up from. At one point, somebody, I guess, got moved or was ejected, but they threw all their shit over into and it just rolled down. And it was like kind of in my driveway, but it was like, you know, driving by and there's a reclining chair upside down and a couch and shit, lamps and clothes and shit. And I sent Mario a thing on his Facebook page about how, you know, it's like I was like, you know, I remember this as I'm not trying to judge people who do white drugs and I party, you know. This was like his real estate page or something. And I you know, and I had pictures of it. And he came over and well, he threatened me and then he left, you know, and he was like emotional. Like, you know, what I had to say, you know, he takes pride in his property and he was all, it's like, this is like, oh shit, man, you know, that's why you don't open the door. And that's why my wife's in a cult, you know.
Did he take offense to you posting online or was it?
Well, he didn't like any of it. Yeah, but I mean, called him out, his property. He takes pride in his property. I go, well, then get the fucking.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't put that shit there.
Yeah, I have evidence saying otherwise.
Yeah. So then another like not too long after that, the dude comes over and I think, here we go. This is, you know, this is where you get shot because this guy, we've already had beef, you know.
Now he's got a plan.
And I opened the door and I'm like, you know, let's go, man. Here I am, you know. You want to kill me, the key is to shoot me right in the head or the chest, I think.
Andy just goes like this.
I'm ready. Yeah. Having a bad night here. And he goes, I got something for you. And it was marijuana. He gave me weed too, you know. He didn't know I'd, you know, this is a different time frame of it, but you know. So that guy, he sold his property and then it's gradually gotten better. But back when I took those cats, it was, you know, she's happier here. Look at her.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
Why did he bring you weed though? Like an apology?
As an apology for the
because he saw him on the camera steal the other
for
weed.
Leaving the stuff. One of his tenants leaving, you know, throwing a couch and you know, it was like you know, it's like fucking.
He knew you were right. And he wanted to make amends so that you didn't go. You didn't. He knew that you.
He's like maybe an email asking me to, you know, bring it to my attention first.
As he said when he said he takes pride in his property, and I said, well, why don't you clean up that shit that's bleeding off the fucking side of your deck? And then you know he had a couple of dudes. He had this dude who I think me and this other neighbor lady called him Charles Manson, but he had like Charlie Manson, this weird dude who would talk to himself a lot. And you know, I mean, he's just an eccentric neighborhood guy or whatever, lives in this, you know, Hobo Danny had the rundown on him. But that so I saw, you know, this guy, I also called him Counting Crows because he had the dreads, but you know, Charles Manson and Mario putting that fucking shit in the back of a truck and driving off. It's like, yeah, it's all I'm asking, motherfuckers.
Dude, the moment that you realized it was not a dead turkey in the road and it was a person and then you're panicked a little bit, you're like, oh my god, what the fuck, and you stop.
Well, I mean, he was in the middle,
and you go up to it like, oh my god, what am I gonna see? And then you realize it's fuck off guy and you're like, oh, like that moment that it washes over you, that you're no longer worried about their well-being, and karma has come back around in its long, slow, beautiful loop and fucking locked up this guy's front tire in a beautiful way, and now he's bleeding downhill at your house.
I could have played it a different way, you know, and we could have become friends maybe, and he would have given me weed. I don't know. We'll never know because you know, his negativity come back around and I couldn't control it. When it come back around, it came back around so fast. You know, I didn't have time to think that, like, oh, you know.
And he's shirtless with his shirt in his hand, ready to help, and then just like, oh, fuck off.
He just
And it's a
throws it
shirt
over his shoulder.
ultimately, it's a shirt I don't have anymore neither. It's like, I thought I could, at the very least I could help this guy whose head's bleeding, even though he's that fucking guy.
I think the best part is that after you realize, not only did you not give him your shirt, but you also didn't call the ambulance. Someone else had to do that.
No, I wouldn't even thought of that.
Oh, he rubbernecked the whole way through.
Well, I didn't. I mean, he couldn't have been in a more awkward spot to get by. He was right in the middle, prone, so that try to get by on either side might have,
Well, you were doing a 12-point turn around him.
No, he was coming down the hill, and I was just coming
at
up.
him.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Move it.
No, I waited till they removed him from the road before it even drove up. I was like, I went right into, because I didn't have to, but I volunteered to, I had to run up the hill to get to his thing. So I was like, up and back, and I found a piece of mail, and I go, I think this is his address, so this might be him. And they were like, is your name? And I don't remember what the is your name Bruce or whatever it was. And he wasn't talking though. It's like he was yeah, he probably should have.
You should have dragged him down to your basement dungeon and fucking murdered him.
Well, the kind of shit that maybe
Pulp Fiction.
The kind of shit that maybe happened to him as a result of him just being a dick. Like I could have like helped him put his thing on, like, yeah, let's just get you over here, and fucked it. You don't need, he didn't want to go in an ambulance.
No, of course not.
I could,
he's got priors, man. He doesn't want anybody official involved.
Warrants or something.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. Open up, bam, 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 bam.
I also wonder if he laid there for a second, and then when he realized he needed help, I wonder if it occurred to him that it was likely that the first person who was going to find him was going to be the guy he told to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if he laid there going, "Oh, I hope it's anybody but that fucking guy."
I can't even move.
I think he was just seeing. I think at the time that I come up on him, he was just seeing searing pain.
I think
the kind of pain you get on a deadfall on your noggin.
I think one of the great parts is that from the perspective of the first responders, Andy really does look like a hero because they think he's not responding due to a head injury. They don't know he's trying to hide shit because he's doing illegal shit at his address. So Andy really does look like a fucking hero to these people.
Andy's following protocol.
Yeah. Sir, that was very smart not to move the patient. He could be suffering from a third or fourth metatarsal break. He could be paralyzed for life. A lot of people would have tried to drag him off the side of the road to get him to a place more comfortable. Well done, sir.
I was just like, So there was I think it got to be like 3 or 4 people, and they conferred about, but I was just like, I don't have any empathy for this guy, so you guys better make the decisions on his behalf, because I just didn't see him bleed out. So the guy, I don't know, whatever happened, that was the end of it, and he wasn't back there anymore. So the van, was like, I just don't like the van down here. And if he would have said, it's legal to park here, maybe I wouldn't have been a dick to him or whatever. But after Augie Smith pointed that out when I told him that story about, well, you probably got him killed for taking that weed, and I was like, well, I guess it's good I'm getting it out now, in case I don't want to be on my deathbed and go, wait, I think I might have caused another death in the
I got bodies.
Well, and I can only imagine he knew that it was you that took his weed too. I mean, he was sitting right there when you gave him his
I went up and got his address.
And then he knew his door was unlocked for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
this guy hates me, clearly. Doesn't help me. Then he rats me out.
I locked it.
Check my fucking door.
I locked it to create doubt.
Oh, so you locked him out of his own house.
So you locked it, which means that he for sure knows someone was in there, because he could have just thought, well, maybe I sold that weed to somebody and I just can't remember it. because I know the door was unlocked. Now he knows somebody was in there. He knows it was you.
Head games, man. Andy
Yeah.
plays the long fucking game every time.
Yeah.
I just wish I was responsible for his bike freezing up. That would make me a genius. Like if I would have,
Oh, if you somehow pulled it together.
yeah, it's like the day he said "fuck off," I went and clipped his brake line or some shit.
Or you strung a little fishing line across the road that he couldn't see that would somehow.
Oh man, I've
Clothesline.
always been intrigued by that little, the piano wire. Across. I think that might have been in one of those Faces of Death thing. Or
Yeah, I
thing
just
that I
sliced right through
remember
him.
seeing it, and I've always like,
Yeah,
wow,
like a cheese slicer.
My uncle, whenever I was a kid, he was only a couple years older than me. He had a motorcycle and was riding the regular trails, and somebody strung a steel cable up neck high, hit him fucking straight in the throat.
Killed
That
it.
happens out in Alaska a lot because they have people ride four wheelers. Like there's a frontage road on a long highway, and they'll ride along the frontage roads like that, and then people will string up a chain across between two trees that are the entrance to their property, and you got to mark it, man, because someone goes zipping through there, man, they're gonna get launched.
Yeah, that's a thing on snowmobiles.
Yep.
Where I live. I mean, although not as much because it doesn't snow in Illinois anymore. But it used to be a thing where you'd go flying across people's fields, and it's like, all right, there's going to be a fence coming up. Where is it? And yeah, that'll fuck you up real good. But you taking the fuck you guy down, that's actually pretty good. What would have been also great is if, as he's laying there, you reach into his pockets, get his keys out, slowly walk over to his van, move it. Come back, put his keys back in his pocket, tap him on the forehead, and go in your house and just let him bleed on the fucking road.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Poor guy. Well, he was if that, like I said, if his friendship ended over an ounce of weed,
yeah, well, you don't have to feel guilty about it, Andy. Life comes at you fast.
Yeah, and it wasn't his
if that guy had somebody literally chasing him, around when he got back from the hospital,
banging on the door.
This was an inevitable thing, and your characterization of the place and the people is correct.
I remember his
name. You don't have to remember his name. It's not going to be helpful to the story to say actually say his whole name.
I just remember the guy banging on the door and saying, "Open the door, you fucking pussy, my Steve, Jim."
So Mike, Steve, Jim.
Yeah, he's probably like
it's a hard name to forget.
He's probably in a state hospital from his head wounds. Steve, Jim.
He's got a wristband that's from the hospital that says Mike,
Steve Job, Jim.
He fucking failed kindergarten because he got to write his own name. God damn you.
But I think that's probably the same unit the cat came from, just different, So
yeah, I love that this story started with you stealing a cat from somebody and the kitten. Wait, you stole the mom first, though, right?
Well, I picked up the mom because I hadn't seen these cats before, or this cat before, and it had
by the garbage can.
It actually had a collar on it, and then
you gotta throw those back.
So anyway, I threw that one back, and then her kitten was wandering around the next day. So they'd seen me with the other cat, or anyway, so I had their other cat. I was holding it. And
was it still wet with afterbirth? I mean, what?
No, well, it was not that young, but it was a kitten. So I took her, I took a kitten away from its mother and her people, and then.
But I mean, it wasn't still nursing, feeding, right? Like nursing.
She to this day she still sucks on a blanket. So I got
you pulled her away while she was nursing.
I go, Binky, here's Binky.
She'll never grow up. Too, Andy.
Yeah, she'll never grow up.
Oh man, Andy,
she's perfect.
She's perfect.
And then, So the people
You
around
needed
here.
her. You needed her.
I needed a cat at that time, and
Right.
and now
That cat probably, jokingly we said, "Oh, you probably rescued that cat from a worse off life," but really, truly, that
well,
cat
she would have had
you.
litters of cat. I mean, the mother was like a year old, so
Yeah.
the mother got
Wait,
was
wait,
in
are you using the Raising Arizona defense?
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
they've got so many. You can-
exactly. Well, this was a cycle that was going to repeat itself, so I got
Sure.
I took one and got it fixed.
You might be able to get a half brother.
So
Nathan Jr.
Absolutely.
if it was a boy, that's what I would rename it.
And- Well, I don't think you should assume your cat's gender, Andy.
No, my neighbor neighbor young person is I guess he's got a lady name and pronouns. I don't talk to him because I told you he's like little Jeffrey Dahmer out there, and he just seems to be real random. But he's only like he's like a fifth grader, so he's already like on my pronouns and shit. So how about this, man? I
Wait a
just
minute.
stay over
Hey,
here.
this is the child who lives next door.
You're talking to fifth
Mhm.
graders in your neighborhood,
Yeah.
Andy?
I don't
No,
talk- I
he's
don't-
avoiding them because
No, I don't talk to him, but
trouble.
How do you know all this then?
Right.
well, I heard, well, okay, so my old former neighbor lady who used to live right next door, she came over to visit. And
gossip.
so ladies
line.
chattering,
Grapevine. Gotcha.
I heard a lot
So
of
you're
stuff.
not gossiping.
I
The
don't fucking
ladies are
gossip.
gossiping.
The ladies
You're
are
not
I'm
gossiping.
one to gossip, but I need her to talk.
Mhm.
I've just heard something that I'm sharing on a podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm not a
Passing it
gossip.
on.
Yeah,
This is called content. This is not gossip.
yeah, it's content. I don't
Thank
have
you,
any
Chad.
houses
Good
near
call.
here. I live on a lot, man. I live in a TV lot, you know that. And but I mean,
Fine
so
line between gossip and content.
yeah, it didn't help that
Absolutely.
he
$5
told
a month is the difference.
he's told me the times I have talked to him, he talks about feeding rodents to his snakes and shit. And
Ooh.
he's very Jeffrey Dahmer-esque looking. And
No, that's
so
not good.
it's like, okay, now he's gonna be hopefully he does transition to a lady because there's not a lot of lady serial killers.
I think Chaille just got
Chaille
murdered.
went like that was like a
Yeah.
fucking religious thing.
Yeah,
Like he blinked into a light, and if he
got
doesn't
raptured?
if he didn't come back, that's gonna be amazing.
Dude, he's in another dimension on another podcast.
Yeah, he just got taken away.
That the timing was terrible because you were getting right to the fucking crescendo of that story. But I think you're right about that. I mean, look, any kid that I think it's weird to have, weird pets like that anyway, snakes and shit like that. But if the kid takes special enjoyment in watching the snake eat something, that's a red flag.
Well, it's
You know,
also
like
not
if
a
it likes
common-
to watch something else die, that's something you want to fucking keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'll probably be
I always thought that was pretty cool.
I'll probably be,
So I guess what I'm saying is you're right. Yeah.
I'll probably have to go through the dog door again.
Oh yeah, I think you can still do it.
Head-to-head confrontation. Oh yeah, I'm still in my dog door slim in shape. But I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's
you slimmed right down because of the
It's
Whipple.
been multiple incarnations since then. So
I saw a Reddit video the other day about how a fireman trained to climb in through small things. They climb through the rung of a ladder that
oh geez.
you can fit through it if you know how to do it. So you can get through a dog door for sure.
Well, if we'll
Same-
get
probably the same sort of skill set.
Yeah.
involved, honestly,
yeah, it's like second story guys. Oh no, there he is.
he's bad.
Sorry.
Or is it?
I want a coffee. So
It's funny the way we both saw you kind of disappear in a flash. So it was like we thought you might have got
You
captured.
disappeared like bewitched.
I should have
Uh-huh.
thrown up like my
Yeah.
That's
title.
our
or
gang
something.
colors.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Ah, fuck.
I wanted to come on here and tell you guys that Jenny told me that I should start watching Succession if I want to hate watch it because it's coming up soon.
Yeah,
And,
it premieres this week.
The 26th. Is it on
What's-
Sunday?
What's
Sunday.
the actor's name? The main guy in it.
Brian Cox.
Brian, I saw on Twitter feed or whatever, every time he said "fuck off" in the 3 years, and it's really interesting. Yeah, because he does have a lot of variations.
Hey, how about spoiler alert? Chad hasn't watched it yet.
So don't. I told you guys last time that I made it to episode 3 and had to choke out. Well, it turns out when I went to get back into it, I made it halfway through episode 2 and choked out. And so now I am on episode 6 or 7, and I'm absolutely in love with this fucking family of psychopaths. I'm hooked. I'll probably go right back to binge watching it as soon as we're done here. I'll be done with all of the 3 seasons before the 4th one comes out for sure. It's funny. It's hilarious.
Spoiler alert, I really enjoyed, I think it was the first episode, really the first kind of scene that showed the family where they were at the birthday party for the old man and they played baseball, and they offered the fucking kid, the child of the nanny or some shit, $1 million that they could hit a home run or something.
Yes.
And then they made the fucking the son-in-law tag him out right before home plate and fucking
sorry, rips the check up. That's a Home Alone kid's brother. That's my favorite character, I think.
Oh, he's great. They're all great. I mean, the farther you go with this, Chad, the more I think you will realize they're all great in their own way. Like they all have
definitely
so well done.
Yeah.
And Brian Cox, the fucking sheriff from the Super Troopers. Like that's how I know that guy. Turns out he's this, distinguished actor, English, Shakespeare, fucking theater, all this shit. He's fantastic. I know him as the guy from Super Troopers.
Yeah. And I know him as the dandy from Deadwood.
Yeah, right. He did that too.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a great dandy.
He there was a big story after when season 3 was happening about whatever the Kendall's name is. I can't remember what his name is. Jeremy something Jeremy.
Jeremy Irons? No.
But that guy is very, very method. His thing is that he gets into the character, he stays in it. He was like an assistant to Daniel Day-Lewis for a while. He was like his assistant on My Left Foot, and Daniel Day-Lewis is in these deep things where he's, he stays in character and he becomes the person he is and all that shit. So that's how this guy does it. And there's a great contrast with Brian Cox, who is just like fuck it, fuck all that. They say action, you fucking turn into the guy, you do it. They say cut, you go back to being who you are. Fuck you. Yeah. That's all.
Jeremy Strong.
Jeremy Strong. Yeah. But they're both fucking incredible. Like everybody finds their own way and everybody finds their own method. What works for somebody might not work for the other, but it is quite the thing that there's even that kind of dynamic between them.
It'd be fun to see.
They don't have the same style,
Maybe when it's over, they can show some behind the scenes where those two are at each other. Fuck off.
Succession bloopers.
Yeah.
Cracking up all the time.
Laughing lighthearted. Fuck
like
off.
A Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise end of Cannonball Run.
Cannonball Run.
They did not care about film wasting back in those days.
Oh man, let it roll, baby. Yeah, they were all drunk.
Making shit up.
Purposely fuck up the scene.
Absolutely. That was the point, Burt Reynolds laughing was like Jimmy Fallon laughing in the fucking cowbell sketch.
Yeah.
But Succession is fucking great. I mean, I came to it late too, and I was hesitant because that's what came after Game of Thrones, and that show was my favorite, and then it kind of disappointed at the end, and I felt hurt. Didn't want to commit to an HBO show again. I wanted to take some time off. So I didn't watch the first 2 seasons. And then when season 3 came around, somebody finally got me in. And when I went in, I was like, this is like the best thing about these HBO shows. One of the best things is when you're hooked on it. Like the whole thing is such a good production. Like they do the first scene and then they go into the theme song and whatever montage is the opening credits. And I never skip that shit. Like Deadwood was good, the way it throws you, Succession, the way that piano music throws your head into the place that you're about to travel.
You're talking
to.
about the title sequence?
Yeah,
The intro music.
Yeah, it's fucking great. HBO does great at that. Westworld was good. All of the, the fucking vampire show with
True Blood.
I want to do bad things to you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, it was good
all of
stuff.
that shit is fucking great. I love the
Well,
way.
even The Sopranos had a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, of
that song
course.
they had.
I
Yeah.
still need to watch that one. Did you watch Rome?
No.
For a day.
Rome was actually
Fuck. I missed Cat Burglar and For a Day. God damn it. I had to work today, you guys.
I did not watch that show, but I know it was the Deadwood guy, right?
yes, it is really good.
What did they do?
Who's the Deadwood guy?
Ian McShane?
Ian
No,
McShane?
the writer.
the guy who made it.
Oh.
Mitch.
I had the
remember.
Deadwood box set, and then it's like the end of it, because that show got pulled early. They never really got to wrap it up. I mean, they did, but it was too late.
It didn't count.
But he was walking around still on the set, I think, of Deadwood, and walking around the set, and it was just like, it's like a guy who just got dumped. He was, still burning, talking about it a little bit. He didn't go on a rant about it, but you could tell it hurt that he wasn't wrapping that show up properly.
Mm-hmm.
Rewatching Deadwood and South Park is the main reasons I have HBO.
I love the South Park's on HBO because they got language in there that you don't get in the episodes.
And no
South Park has really truly become. I've always been a Simpsons guy. I've always thought Simpsons was the best television show of all time, but South Park has gotten so good. Like the way they transition into like season-long story arcs instead of one episode.
I think that's went downhill.
Oh, I think I like that way more. I like that. I like the building, like the Integrity Farms thing is just gives me complete enjoyment.
Yeah. Oh man.
All the time. Randy is the fucking one of the best television characters. He's like Homer was always the best Simpsons character, and the reason probably I didn't like South Park is they didn't have the fucking dumbass dad until Randy really fucking started coming into his own,
Oh man, one of my favorite episodes, the one where Randy is fucked up when the kids takes him to karate, and then he's pissing in a fucking bottle on the way home drunk and gets pulled over.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the South Park with the Integrity Farms, and then the neighbor becomes Tolkien's family,
right?
So they buy the farm next to him, and then they
have
their St. Patty's Day special, and so he's dressed up like an Irishman, Randy is, and then the neighbor Tolkien's dad is also dressed like an Irishman, and he goes over and gets into a fist fight with him about cultural appropriation. It's just like shit, man. It's like it's kind of.
I love that you call him Tolkien.
I was about to say that too.
Over the fact that they did the greatest joke, a piece of joke writing you could ever do with a joke you wrote 20 years ago. I mean, we probably shouldn't make this a podcast where we just talk about how funny South Park is, but that would be maybe that could be another Patreon.
Tolkien, yeah. If you thought for a second that this was token,
everyone, even Cartman knew. That was my favorite part.
Hey, well, didn't Cartman have token on his shirt? Yeah, because he's a racist piece of shit.
Yeah, that's your fucking benchmark, you fucking asshole. It does make you think the whole time. You're like, wait a minute, did they ever say token or Tolkien? What the fuck?
Yeah.
It was so great,
so beautiful. Those guys are the best. They fucking really. I mean,
did you ever watch that documentary 6 Days to South Park?
I have.
Look that one up. You'll definitely like it.
They put an episode together in real time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It shows from like brainstorming to release in 6 days.
You get a feel for just how much of the voices they do all that stuff in house. The cool thing also was Bill Hader was a writer for a while on South Park, so he's in that documentary. Yeah, he had a big part.
6 days to air, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see it for years, and I finally tracked it down like on YouTube or something.
Also, their episode where they ridiculed Family Guy, I think that's when I really got converted to where I thought this might be the greatest cartoon of all time, because that was just an absolute fucking masterpiece. That was like the Who's Tommy. That was like a fucking hour-long production of an episode that said everything that those two guys thought about
Did
and the people they were up against.
yeah,
It's like if you're a stand-up and you felt Carlos Mencia was getting too popular, you know, like it was that kind of a takedown of
oh man. Well, you bring up Carlos. You remember that South Park where it was the fish sticks jokes?
Oh yeah,
and he takes credit for it.
Steals it.
And then was it P Diddy beats the fuck out of him with a baseball bat?
All right, we are on the podcast where we just talk about South Park.
Well, I have a question for you guys, or a situation. Okay, like, all right, when my kids were growing up, my boys were teenagers, and we would all watch South Park together all the time. It was one of the things that we did, and smoke weed. But I was a bad parent. But
Andy stole a cat. Chad smoking weed with
watching cartoons.
It's so much worse than that, Erickson. I used to get, whenever I found out all my kids were weed smokers.
And it's probably his skill.
I don't know. I can't sell 20 sacks to high school.
It has to be a Patreon only episode.
Oh shit! But my daughter was too little to watch South Park, but she knew we always watched South Park. I wouldn't let her watch it, so I had to go finally. And she was, she's a pretty smart little kid, and I was like, all right, what's an episode of South Park that I can watch? I can let her watch. And I found the perfect episode, I think, to let somebody that's too young to watch South Park watch. And I was just curious if you guys
Christmas Critters.
I was
Jesus Christ, that's one of the horrible ones.
Oh, I know. Christmas Critters is the word. Should we rape his face? Or?
I was going to guess Mr. Hanky.
I went with the Mormon episode. There's nothing incredibly vulgar, and it kind of points out lesson. For a good lesson for
you're planting seeds, because you're not directly mocking Christianity by letting her watch it, but she might, being the smart as she is, make the connection later on down the road. That's very wise. See, now that actually is good parenting. So that undoes the weed smoke. In fact, smoking weed with your kids, if they're already smoking weed, is also good parenting. I think. So.
Yeah, they were already doing it.
You didn't indoctrinate.
You're keeping lines of.
No, I didn't force them to do it. I just found out.
Hey, you have to smoke this whole pack of fucking joints. I didn't smoke them. Why are you making me do this, Dad?
Dad, that's your weed.
Field and farm it.
You're high again. You're so high right now.
You want to smoke pot around here? You need to roll 2 joints for me first, then 2 for yourself.
My kids used to laugh when we'd sit there and talk when they started smoking weed. They're like, "Yeah, we remember, Dad, when we were little, you'd always be the last one. We'd go on a road trip, and everybody would be in the van with seatbelts on, and you'd finally be the last one, and you'd roll in, and it would smell like a skunk."
Yeah.
Because I fucking was getting high before I had to go to fucking functions.
You got to get that last hit before you get in the car.
Oh, man. You get everybody in the car. I'll be in the bathroom.
Yeah, I remember when my kids, I was doing they were in the back seat. This is when they were still basically backseat kids only, like they were pretty little. And this was also back when we smoked one hitters that were like brass, with the wooden dugout. And I dropped it and it made a clankety clank noise. And my son was like, what was that? And I was like, oh, I don't know. It was, nothing. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it was something.
Crucifix.
Part of the car.
Crucifix.
That's what I should have said.
I never wanted to lie, about stuff, but I knew there was a certain age that it was okay. So the kids would be like, Dad, what is that burning smell in the bathroom? And I would tell them, I had to burn some rope, because then in my mind, that was just slang. I wasn't lying. I had to burn some rope.
Yeah.
So they
Very
thought that
true.
my shit just stunk so bad that I burned rope in the bathroom to cover it up.
You got to smoke weed though when your kids are little. Like when I was
yeah.
my kids, spending time with them when they were little, if you're gonna go play Candyland with your 5-year-old, it's great to go smoke a couple of hits in the garage before you fucking jump back into fucking.
Yeah, you can. Like I had
into it. Yeah, absolutely.
I do it with grandkids still to this day. Sit and play little Spider-Man figures with my granddaughter forever. She loves it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw Chad
doing all the voices, making up shit.
Yeah.
I got the bad guy. I'm gonna steal everybody's underwear, and fucking she's cracking
getting
up.
all kinds of laughs. You're crushing, dude.
Yes, I kill at Spider-Man with a 3-year-old, dude.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
There's definitely. That's if being a parent is a performance, then there's weed in the green room. I definitely would go out to the greenhouse, if you're in a bad mood or whatever, and go out to the greenhouse, smoke some weed, and then I'd start thinking, and then Delaney would get up from a nap, and I go, come on out to the greenhouse. I got some, and I have art supplies, and let's do this, let's make this leaf glittery project or whatever the fuck, never most of them didn't become anything special or anything, but I would just be in a mood. I'd get so stoned I was like an art teacher. Like, man, here we go. And it's all and well prepared too. I'd like, because you get stoned and you have the idea, and I'd run with it, and then she'd get up and it's like, here it is, Dad created a store. The garage is now a grocery store, and you're the clerk, like shit like that.
That's fucking great.
Definitely.
Thank you, marijuana.
Thank you.
Marijuana.
Thank you for making us tolerate our children.
It's just a little bit of rum. I remember doing. I know with Kelly Moran, we did this a couple of times where I'd pour shots, and then Delaney would do juice. But we would have a tea party, but we were it was basically teaching her to do shots. Like Kelly would be like, I like my tea, and then bam.
Did you guys toast and then tap it on the table before you?
So yeah, you'll see now.
She's having tea parties with all her little friends, going after she drinks the tea.
Right.
Grimace after you drink your tea. That's weird.
Yeah, that's the clear shit.
That is a giveaway.
Yeah, I don't know how I think I would still be my kid's parent, and she'd still be 5 years old if I didn't smoke weed. It felt like, like weed made that time magical, but it also got it out of just being stuck in that fucking mode forever.
Of course.
I had a friend a dude that I met when my daughter was in preschool, and I'd have like play dates. I'd let her go over there and hang out and play with his kids, and him and I would sit around and smoke joints and bullshit. And he told me they got busted one time because one of their kids was in school and they were having like the anti-smoking thing.
Oh man.
And the kid raised his hand and says, my mom smokes like this and my dad smokes like this. And they paid him a visit over that.
Yeah,
man.
Like, that's bullshit, man.
I hope they bust that kid's fingers. If that was my kid, I'd break his
way
fingers.
for the school to figure out who's smoking weed, though. Everyone, show us how your mommy smokes.
That's
that was
exactly
my kid.
what the
I'd
DARE
step
program
on this.
was, Chaille.
Yeah,
That's what the DARE program was.
I have no idea what anything about. I just remember it being Nancy Reagan's thing. I was too old.
My
Was
kids
Nancy
went
there?
through it.
She
Man,
was
it
don't
bullshit.
say or
I had just say no.
Yeah, just say no. Is that
DARE
different than
came
DARE?
later, but that's all it was fucking tell us,
Narcs.
Yeah, narc out your parents, man.
Whenever my kids were little, I would pack my lunch when I worked at the mine, and I would chew skull, and it would be in my lunchbox, and I'd get home and they would go through my lunchbox when they got home and dig out the snacks that I didn't eat and eat those for after school snacks. Just one of the things that the kids did, you know, when they were little. And one day my son pulls it out and he's like just dropped and he goes, Dad, this is drugs. And I was like, whoa, we got to fucking have some corrective training here, man. We got to explain the difference.
It was a tin of Skull?
Yeah, it was just a thing of Skull.
You're like, well, technically you're right, son.
Yes.
Those aspirin.
Yes.
What you've heard about drugs is
store.
True. Yeah, what you've heard about drugs is true, but what you've heard about reality is not.
That was my son that it was like a freshman in high school when he came to me and says, Dad, there's some kids at my school that sneak off and smoke pot during lunch. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, it stinks. And I go, it does, huh? And he goes, I can smell it whenever they go do it. And I was like, all right. And then a couple, it goes on. He's just telling me about his day, you know, and the kids, you know, just bullshitting. And then it goes on a week or two later and he goes, hey, I'm the guard for those guys when they smoke pot. I hang out over in front of the trees. And if somebody's coming, I, you know, give a signal so they know. Yeah. So they know. So now, as soon as he told, I was just waiting. I go, all right, let's wait for the next progression in this and the next couple. Hey, Dad, I tried that smoking weed. I was like, did you? What'd you think about that? I liked it pretty good. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, the guard need to find position a new guard. Open. Yeah.
I think that's like a something that every middle school property has to have, is a place where adjacent that other students and people can see you slipping down
smoking
the drug trail. Ours was we had our science teacher, Mr. Farmer, called it Stoner Trail, and he would just wait till he go, there they go down Stoner Trail, and like, you know, he was kind of an eccentric. He was the girls' women's basketball coach in high school, like, or whatever. They lost. They never won. And like one time, I just made a remark about it, and he threw me out of the class. But it's like when he would throw you out.
His win-loss record?
Yeah, I mean,
I guarantee you, there is more to this story.
Yes,
than a simple.
Mr. Farmer would throw you out. This was got to be the joke, though. He would throw you out on usually Friday. You would look for trouble because I was seventh. You'd take him seventh period.
Get out early.
Get kicked out. You'd just leave, and he didn't want to do paperwork. So he'd say, "Hey, you want to try me, Mr. Andrist? I've never lost." And I was like, "Well." As a coach or whatever, and he's like, all right, hit it, like it didn't matter if it was like 15 minutes in or whatever. He would just send you out, and you go, all right, and then you just disperse. That was the thing, is if you got kicked out of class, I don't want to see you, get out, move. I don't want to see you.
Where would you go, Andy?
Home or go smoke weed? I'd go down Stoner
Trail. That was the last class of the day, Chaille. That was it.
I know, but there was no like follow-up, like I'm gonna check and make
in fact, he would just like people would start in, towards the end. Can he go, yep, one at a time. So people would go, they wouldn't even ask to go to the
eventually they're just like,
he didn't want to be there, and they didn't
they're just insulting him eventually, like kind of just without any heart into it, like they know that they're going to get thrown out. They just come in and they say their thing, like, your wife's a piece of shit. Okay, get out of here.
I think
they're in a line. They all just say their insult.
40 minutes into the class, and it's just it's Mr. Farmer and 4 Asian kids.
I'm trying to think of like teachers that I liked and stuff. I think I only really
they wanted to keep going.
I think Mr. Farmer was one of the few teachers I liked. But he didn't really. I don't think he liked me or anything. But it's like I think but I can see like when he was being like he wasn't a disciplinarian. He was just basically saying, I don't want to. You guys aren't here to learn, so fucking.
Again, Andy, you have both. Say both. Your big stories tonight have you vindicated yourself in your stories. The fuck off guy story, you totally vindicated yourself, and in this story, you were totally in the right. If this guy is a coach who's never won a game, he is not allowed to use the you want to take me on? I've never lost. I've never lost. Like it's got to occur to him that he cannot
I feel like it did. I
He's
kind of feel like it did. Like like he left an opening so I would step on it. So I would take that. So I would leave.
Swing at it.
Yeah. He would
That's
serve it up.
entrapment, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Farmer.
He was I had him as a little league coach for a minute.
How was your team?
Well, I was shitty. I was like fucking, when I first how I first started with this shit is I was in summer school and I saw other people doing it and I thought I wanted to do it. It's just because I was in summer school, and then I really didn't know how to, I don't know. I played wiffle ball with my brother, but when it came to this other shit, I was just.
I saw that picture of you with a bat in your hand.
Yeah, I was
holding it kind of backwards and turned the wrong way.
Yeah, I wasn't into my, and then so we had. I don't even know where they came from, but we had these like vintage baseball wool pants and shit that were like, back in the day, like maybe I don't even, like way before I was a kid. Wool, like I would show up and wear like these official uniform, like old timey baseball uniform, to play little league ball in. These all, they didn't even fit me. They're all fucked up, and I didn't really know what was going on in t-ball. And I remember one time as Mr. Farmer was waving me to come in, and I slid into home plate and was like 15 feet short of the thing. And of course, nobody catches the ball or anything, but he's like, "Get up and run."
You don't know how far you're gonna slide when you're that little.
Yeah, well, and I was in them wool pants and shit, but I remember standing in the outfield and getting made. The other outfielder was made fun of my pants, and I think I probably cried a little bit. But it's like I think my mom overthought what I needed to wear. Just some fucking.
Well, it was probably a team uniform. Probably everyone had the wool.
I should have asked my brother Dave. Do you remember? I would get hand-me-downs, but those seemed like they were hand-me-downs from another generation.
If you're on the little league team,
they uniforms.
Yeah, they give you a baseball uniform. Everyone was wearing it. You were.
They used to. Then they changed it to where everyone would buy their own pants. Yeah,
they didn't give us a uniform.
What are you guys talking about? You can't be in little league. You at least got shirts that matched. You have to have a.
I got shirts and pants.
I never made it.
Buy stirrups and the jersey underneath.
Absolutely.
We got those at one point in Little League, for sure.
Like the first division.
Babe Ruth. I don't remember which one. Maybe
Little League. I played organized t-ball, and then that's it.
So did I.
Then you
quit. I don't know why I didn't ever go
Were
back.
You confused when they pitched it to you? You're like, wait a minute, this thing.
I just didn't play. It wasn't not on my radar. I don't know. I was probably going to shows.
Then how do you explain you played t-ball?
I played t-ball. Yeah, I mean, maybe it was because I went over to summer school. They put me over on the other side of town, and then that's where they played baseball. So like maybe that one summer, I was like, well, can I play baseball? Yeah, and I didn't realize they played it every year.
But that was it.
Nobody,
we're finding out all the time more and more about anytime Andy asked to do anything that involved leaving the house for any period of time, the parents were like, yes, you should do that.
Well,
but other side of town, you say?
Yeah, they just let me. I just wandered around on my own, but I didn't get involved in like those little league soccers and shit. There was a boxing team that I didn't even know.
Andy,
none of it was underground.
Those are organized sports. You have to have a parent or a guardian sign. Mm-hmm. Usually there's some like initiation fee and then there's an equipment fee and stuff like this. That's way too much for your family to handle.
Well, like on middle school, like I would go to school and then I knew I could play sports there. But it's like before that, I didn't know, I didn't do any of that shit. Soccer leagues and whatever. I don't think
you probably weren't even playing soccer when you were a kid. Andy.
No, I doubt it. But I know there was the Little League and
probably not up in Oregon.
And Babe Ruth, which I didn't, I certainly wasn't on that.
I think a lot of us played baseball as like a form of babysitter, just to get the fuck, because I remember I played it every year from the time I could legally play
too.
T-ball all the way up through until I was old enough to say I don't want to do this anymore, which is like Babe Ruth. And I was
I don't understand. What's Babe Ruth?
Babe
after
Ruth
Little
was
League.
in between. Yeah, it was after Little League.
Ours
And
was
they
called
had-
Pony.
well, there was Pony League, and then that went up. And
That's
then
what the
that
shirt
went up.
says, yeah.
Past that, the next step up was Babe Ruth, which had, at least where I lived, had regulation length bases.
Yeah.
No, there was serious kids in
Yeah.
Babe Ruth. And
Well,
I
I don't know if
hated
you,
it.
I don't know if you guys know this, but the Walnut, Illinois Babe Ruth team that I played on in probably 1981, undefeated. So
in the history books.
it's absolutely well.
It is.
Look, we're like the Miami Dolphins. We went undefeated. No one beat us the whole season. We won every single game we played, and you can't beat that record. We're
Did he
unbeaten.
have a championship trophy somewhere? Or
I don't. I think there was a trophy at some point, but I don't have it anymore. But I do have a trophy from my little league when I got third in the batting title race. So that's pretty exciting.
We did Little League 3 years in a row on Sumter Construction.
Chico's bail bonds.
Front
Yeah.
won first place. Black and white uniforms though, and had first place. Only team in the whole league with a girl pitcher.
wow,
And she would fucking smoke everybody. I mean, everybody
Adam
was
O'Neill,
afraid.
man.
yeah,
It was
Yeah.
Chico's
the
bail
greatest
bonds.
baseball
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
ever.
I don't know if you guys think I keep this next to my hat, but
Oh man, made it to
there
Texas.
it is.
Yeah.
Participation.
Yeah, Walnut Indians, bad name.
Oh man,
Change
yeah,
that.
that's horrifying.
1980, batting third, Brett Erickson, 425. I betted 425. I betted over
Wow.
400.
And that's what
This was such a competitive league. I betted over 400, something no one in the major leagues has ever done, or done only a handful of times. And I was only third.
Are you going to the Walnut Hall of Fame anytime soon?
Yeah, well, I probably have been kept out of the Hall of Fame for moral reasons, like a Pete Rose
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Coquille's got a Hall of Fame. I don't know what they got in it, but Coquille does have a Hall of Fame.
We never did that. Walnut was up its own ass on enough levels that made you go, "Oh Jesus!" When I was in high school, my sophomore year, we we almost won the state football championship. Almost. We didn't.
That's better than
But we
winning it.
almost did, and that was a pretty big deal. So years later, I guess it would have been probably 20 or 25 years later, when my town every year has a big 4th of July celebration where they do a beer garden and a parade and fireworks and the whole thing. And that's when everybody comes back to Walnut, right? They wanted to do a float in the parade of the old football players from that year, riding in the, these guys are all we're in our 40s or 30s or whatever. And we didn't win.
Yeah.
We didn't even win.
So you guys you should get together and try to win the game. What was that? That was a cool, seems like, what was that Robin Williams movie where he played football?
I was gonna say all the right moves.
Michael, no fucking shit. Anyway,
he relives the game and plays.
yeah, it's like
Sometimes-
he blows it in
Yeah.
as a high school athlete, fumbles the catch and costs the team
Yeah,
a state
you
championship.
can't let it
and then
go.
Years
called Best
later,
of
they
Times,
get
isn't
together.
it?
Best of times. That's it. Yeah,
Is it?
yeah. Who's the quarterback?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. Yeah, Kurt Russell, who was an athlete. So it was Robin Williams was a little hard to believe as a athlete, but it was kind of the character too. Whereas the
Why is
character,
this super
wasn't an
hairy 50-year-old guy in high school?
yeah, but that was actually seemed like a good movie. I don't know, I haven't seen it in a long time, but yeah. Coquille had a few of those alumni games, and I played in I know I played in at least one of them. I remember playing in, I think I played in two because, I played in one in Coquille and one in Myrtle Point. And it's like you get, I don't even know. I think maybe a core of them get together and practice a few times. But for the most part, it's just you show up, you get gear, and then you play without really any kind of fucking, maybe you do a few practices and then you warm up and then you're in a real live game against old fucking dudes from Myrtle Point. And I went, I remember one, I went out and then I just kind of shoved into somebody and it was this fucking guy. It's like, forget their last name, but there was a whole family of these guys with fucking necks, like like huge necks. And it was like I threw into this guy and he made note of me, but he didn't punish me on that play. And then it was, I didn't run up against him again, but it was like, what the fuck, man, this could, it's a game and it's a fundraiser, but you don't go shoving into, I think it was a crumb or a
you're the one who shoved, Andy.
I know. It's like, but I was like, it was like, I remember one year it was like 2-0. It was like that kind of a shit show. Like somebody scored on a safety.
A safety.
Yeah, it's like someone picked up a kick. It was a guy who was actually good and couldn't. His knee gave out and he fell into the end zone, and that was the 2 points.
The only points were an old person being.
That was the one year. It was 2-0.
Cumulative waste.
What's that?
Nothing.
And then
you guys remember the Boris Johnson, who was the Prime Minister of England?
Yeah, just recently.
Years ago, he was in a charity match of, I think, soccer or something, of course, probably, and he just, or maybe rugby, he absolutely fucking straight armed and floored a fucking child, and it was a little bit
I think I've seen
but
that.
It was also absolutely hilarious. I mean, he absolutely did it. He didn't do it accidentally. Sometimes you're a big guy and you're kind of lumbering and there's a bunch of kids running around, you trip over one and you knock them down. He absolutely fucking blasted this kid. That's not it. That's like,
this is the first one I can find.
Fucking.
So he was a footballer back in the day, though. So Boris Johnson had, that shows you that he,
here it is. Boris Johnson, red card, trips a kid.
Oh yeah, this is fucking.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Is that what he was? Did he used to play like all the time?
That's rugby or something. Yeah. Like there. Or he's just committing a fucking red card offense because he's literally tagging. That's not it either. That's not it.
He's a serial fucking.
There is a fucking video of him absolutely running and fucking shouldering a fucking.
Oh, here it is.
Flat. Just waylays this poor little bastard. And this he was the prime minister at the time.
I just right now, before I came to watch the part of Succession where the grandpa punches the little kid in the face with a can of cranberry sauce.
There it is.
So when you said that, that's all I could think of.
There he is, scoring a fucking rugby touchdown.
Bowl him over.
He fucking... He straight up put his shoulder into this kid's fucking chest and flattened his ass.
I'd have to watch the video. It looks like he's falling down.
He kind of was, but he also was trying to score. He was like genuinely.
He did have the ball.
Like Michael Jordan would do the same shit, Michael Jordan doesn't care who his opponent is. But
look at that kid standing his ground.
That is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, because he didn't think this guy was going to run over him.
There ain't no way he's going to go through me.
That's a legal move, man. Legal move.
This is like one of those. Shot. No, look. This is like a Rodney King.
Size.
This is a Rodney King moment. Like if you slow that video down enough, you don't really see the brutality. Yeah. This dude straight up fucking charged like a bull and flattened this kid on his way to score a fucking touchdown or whatever rugby.
And then the people still had a cheer too.
And they were everyone was absolutely aghast. They were like, "What the fuck is that kid okay?"
Look at what
holy shit! At the end. His face.
Absolutely fucking destroyed this kid.
Maybe that kid said fuck off to him.
Told him to move his bike.
Yeah. Can I get you to move your bike, young man?
Fuck off. Oh, really? See you on the pitch.
Oh man. Here's
That's
another
it.
one.
hilarious.
You got to find the video of it, Chaille. It's fucking great.
I'll pull it up. Hold on. There's one more here.
Is that
Look at this. I mean,
Yeah.
oh wow. That poor kid.
Fucking poor hat fell off.
it's like if you push Sean Rouse over.
Right. Right. Unbookable's football game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, yeah, here I got it.
All right, let's see this.
Hold on, I got it.
Don't get on the field if you don't want to play.
That's right.
Oh, there it is.
Oh wait.
Oh no!
Oh man.
Oh, you surprised me with it. Oh,
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
see where the shoe-
Ow.
The shoe
Ouch. Oh, ouch, dude. You chucked your fucking phone. You were like,
oh man, my phone went flying. Ankle just folded in half.
dude.
Is that level gravel?
Ooh, there's a little hole there. You can see it.
Yeah.
I just put in my cable fiber right there, and it's all
Ooh.
soft.
Yeah.
Did you get up and throw that shoe when you could get up, or I would be
Yes.
like, fuck this shoe,
Yeah.
man?
No.
Fucking Chaille.
That's when Andy came upon him. He's laying on the ground all fucking bloody and hurt.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to search your house, sir.
Where's your weed?
Yeah, just
I
tell
bet
me
a lot
now.
of-
Make it easy on yourself.
I
Just
bet what
let
I
me know
stumbled on there was just what first responders do. Sometimes, like like if I was a first responder and then somebody was well, I don't know, you might do some drugs or take some
Did
drugs.
you see the video that was floating around a couple weeks ago of the
Cop?
the cop that forgot to turn her body cam off while they were executing a search warrant, and they were just fucking straight up stealing everything from the house?
Oh yeah, I saw that one. But did you see the okay, that one's great. The cop who was he got pulled over for Dewey. He was a cop, and he was telling the other cop, he's like, turn your camera off. He says it like 3 times to go. He goes, have you had anything to drink? And he goes, well, he's got a camera off. he got out copped by another cop who would not turn off his camera. But they were like right on that. They were just sorting through the guy's shit on that one Brett's talking about. It's like here you.
Oh, they literally.
dividing it
I
up.
mean, they weren't trying to hide it. They were going through all the drawers. They're like, "Oh, this looks nice." They were like holding up shit to see if it fit. Like
Does this
they
fit
were.
you?
It was absolutely. It wasn't like, "Oh, I'm gonna pocket this." While none of the other cops are looking. They were shopping at this person's apartment.
Fuck
Yeah,
that.
that's the problem with cops. They be shopping.
Here it comes.
I tried to puke him.
I'm so sorry.
Watch him. He
feet
still
like that.
leans over to get the ball over the line.
Oh wait.
I think that kid just won an Oscar.
Well, also he didn't score. He kept him from scoring, so that was a good play.
Man, that was great.
All right, we should wrap it up. I feel like we've hit that mark.
All right, I got to get ready to go to Texas.
Absolutely
Yeehaw!
correct.
You got your hat
Bringing my-
ready.
I'm bringing my 6-shooter.
Yeah, dude, I'm home alone. This is the last quiet moment this house will have for probably at least a month.
Really?
Yeah, because
So, tonight?
Andy and Delaney are coming, my kids are coming, and as soon as they leave, Chaille gets here and Diamond's boyfriend gets here, and that'll go on for a while. I think Doug and Bingo might be coming for a little while. Not to the house, but
yeah, Doug's. I don't think Bingo's going. They're up in Seattle right now, and Bingo's visiting her folks.
oh really? Nice.
Yeah, their parents just moved up to the Seattle. Well, up in the San Juans, the islands.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Gay power.
Yep.
Yeah, man. We got to look out for each other.
Yeah, they sold the place that had the power plant on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
The llamas.
You were up there with us, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hung out with the llamas down over the hill for a while
Yeah,
in Grass Valley or something like that.
Grass Valley. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right on. All right. So we've talked a lot about shit that we've been watching, obviously Succession and South Park, fucking two fantastic pieces of art. But I'll jump in and start here. I've been trying to watch this thing. I love this show that I'm watching, but I fall asleep to it every single night. I have not
You said that last week.
I can't help it. I just
Yeah.
by the time I lay down to watch or by the time I stop doing whatever I'm doing and start watching something, I've been up for 16 hours and to think.
And then you got to
this is an old thing on
Teslas.
Netflix. It's an old thing on Netflix, but it's I'm really fascinated by it, and it's called A Trip to Infinity. And it's one of those like,
oh yeah, I've seen that.
it's like a flashy, math and science documentary where there's lots of like animations and they kind of like, talk you through with the concept of infinity and how it works in math and what it might mean for space and all of this stuff. And I love it, but I still haven't watched it all the way through. So it might end with somebody killing a cat or something. I don't know.
If you're lucky.
Disclaimer on your
Yeah, I don't know how it ends. Maybe a guy cuts his fingers off and throws them at the door and a donkey dies. I don't know. But I do enjoy the idea, and I've enjoyed the first 40 minutes of it 4 times.
What's Nick Cage's part?
He's not in it.
He's the
what?
math. He's the
not in
math
it.
numbers.
And neither
The number 8.
well, his talent is infinity, much like
Yeah.
also Matthew McConaughey. It's a very green light sort of show. So
I haven't seen that one. I saw the one about the space program that was supposed to last for like 5 or 10 years, and it's still going. And some of the kids who were in school when the rocket first took off are now leading the program. It's so fucking good. But I thought that was what you were watching, but it wasn't. That's not my recommendation.
oh, that's the one that like the Saturn probe
Yeah.
whatever they sent out. It's still sending back
It's
signals.
still sending signals back. And the people who are now the lead scientists were in elementary school and had gone on field trips and had watched the launch when this originally took place. It was fucking fascinating.
Cool.
And just the passion that's there, The thing that I'm watching still is I fucking love it. It's Boardwalk Empire. I just finished season 1. It's great. There's something to be said about waiting to find out which one's great, because I just realized there's 5 seasons that I get to fucking slow burn.
Yeah.
I made it to 3 and I really liked it. I don't know why I stopped, but I just petered out about 3, but I'd like to get back into that one.
I mean, it could get to the point to where they get too much into some of the interrelationships. When they get rid of the violence, like in Sopranos, and they start talking more, that's when it loses it for me. Because
you're falling into the Stanhope trap there on the Sopranos show.
On the women?
You're wrong about that.
Women
well,
talking.
I don't completely fast forward, but I do like it when it has some of that kind of that, like in Dexter when they were killing off lead characters. I fucking love that. It keeps it fresh. So Boardwalk Empire, even if I got 5 seasons.
Another good one for the opening song. It's fucking great. That montage of Lucky on the beach at the end where the fucking waves are like washing in on him. You probably skipped the intro.
I skipped that.
Didn't they change it a few times too throughout?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Don't spoil the intro for me,
Yeah,
Andy.
man.
Come on now.
All right.
I got another audio book. This one is I've done some horror for a little while. This one is a little weirder, darker horror than ever before. Called The Black Farm by a guy named Elias Witherow. And basically a couple has rough time in life. They decide, let's just fucking end it all together and get out of here. They wake up in this basically a place that was created because God and the devil had no idea what to do with suicides. They both kind of claimed them. They didn't know, so they created this place that kind of just got forgotten about and became this horrible hell. And you can go there, go through all this shit and die, and you come right back into that spot, so you could die over and over again and keep coming back. It's yeah.
Whoa.
That
the
doesn't
pig
sound dark.
is the one that runs it. It's fucking some of the goriest details. It is dark as fuck and gory as fuck.
Dude. Are
And
you
some
okay,
of it, the one
Shannon?
that,
Are you all right? Is that ankle?
here's the one thing that I will say I did not like about it was you go from the most horrible gory thing like this. He gets captured by a guy, and he just makes him try to eat flesh, and the guy can't eat flesh. He's like, this is too tough, I can't eat it. And he's like, and you need new teeth. And basically he just spikes him full of new teeth with like all these different objects and tries to make him eat. Like, it's a horrible hell that these people have to go through. And then when he starts beating the guys, he monologues with them. Like, he holds them at gunpoint at different points and talks to them for, a good. And I guess you got to make the book longer, but it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit at all with the complete horrible fucking violence. And then, listen, you freeze right there, buddy. And you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? That doesn't fit. But it was really good. I enjoyed it. It was a fun ride and had a good ending. And unpredictable for sure. I could never imagine anything like that.
Good for you. I'm definitely not reading that. That's way too.
Thanks for warning him.
Yeah.
Oh, the narrator's really good if you do the audiobook.
Let's see. I haven't really seen anything good.
No?
Ghost Ship. Has anyone seen the movie Ghost Ship? I don't think it's that great, but there's a scene where a cable snaps through a whole ship and cuts people in half. So that I might rewatch that scene again.
Just for that scene. Can you give us a minute and second time frame? We don't waste the time.
I think it's
a movie, but watch the whole thing.
I've been just watching a bunch of Datelines, and I enjoy the shit out of those. I missed a whole season 2 or 3 of that, so I can go back and watch.
Are you becoming a true crime murderino like me? Is this what's happening?
I enjoy other people's sufferings, and
it's really it's such an escapist sort of thing. You don't have to think too much about it, and then. But we've talked about this a little bit. I have developed like you can kind of tell right away this is going to be a Dateline that I'll like. Like if it's a kid, I don't watch it. I'm like, I'm not interested in watching some parent suffer through not being able to find their child for fucking 20 years. When it's the husband and wife and one of them killed the other one.
Oh yeah,
I'm always fucking ready to hear that story.
Salivating.
How did they do it? Mitchell and I both watch it, and we look at each other like, "Yeah, that's how I would."
And if one of them's having an affair,
got you, bitch.
Yeah, like that.
And then you always try to tell when they're talking to one of them at the beginning of the show, or like, wait, are they pulled in so close that they're not showing the guys in prison?
Disfigured.
He's wearing a fucking jumpsuit. Like,
yeah.
They don't want to give it away right away.
It's horrible how you ruin your own stuff. Where you're like, well, that guy's blurred out, so he didn't do it. Like, as soon as you see a blurred out guy, immediately that's an irrelevant part of the story. They're like, filler.
I was like, when you see the perfect
too, though,
thing.
Andy. I feel a little, grimy and dirty after watching some of those, but it is very escapist and it makes you just go,
I'd
"Oh."
watch like a show where Keith Morrison just described crime scenes and what one had. Then he grabbed the hammer, where he, because he's such a nice part of it, but when he's not on there, it's like, oh, it's a bummer. It's not his episode or whatever.
Oh,
but
I don't know, man.
yeah.
I've grown
Gotta
to
pass the
realize-
torch. He's getting old, man.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
first
yeah,
of all,
sure.
let's just say this. Everybody also loves Josh Mankiewicz. He's like a fucking giant melting candle who fucking
Mhm.
but don't sleep on Andrea Canning. Andrea
man,
Canning has done some good Datelines. She
yeah.
brings the female's perspective to it.
Mhm.
And
she's I don't know how old she is, but she still brings
all
the
right.
fucking dish.
Absolutely correct. And then the one everybody forgets about, the guy who's just down there in the trenches doing the work, that's your Dennis Murphy. Your Dennis Murphy's in there just knocking out Datelines, quality work, and no one remembers that he's
Yeah. He may
Cool.
not be the best looking journalist, but he's a fucking journeyman.
but he is one of them.
He's in there. Yeah.
I recommend Dateline too, Andy. I'm going to back you up.
right.
Watch the one scene from Ghost Ship and then go watch
Yeah.
the Datelines where a spouse got murdered and the other spouse got caught. There's just something satisfying about it all.
I like it too when there's a court proceed. I like the
Yeah.
ones where you get to see it all. Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes it's a bit of a
Absolutely.
cliffhanger, and you're like, oh, I'll have to wait till they throw this on in the summer again or whatever.
Here's the key to Dateline, and we're talking about shit spoiling it for you. What I do at the beginning of the Dateline, I've seen them all, and I rewatch them, but I don't remember them, because there's 28 seasons of them or whatever the fuck. At the beginning, there's a 1 minute long giveaway.
Synopsis,
Of,
yes.
And they give it away. And they're like, but it ended up being a key that was found on the floor of a truck that gave the whole. So what I do, I literally cover my ears and I go, and I like peek out of my eyeball.
Surprise witness nobody saw coming.
Right.
Yeah.
As
Turned
soon as
out
you-
it was her brother.
Yeah.
Go
As
the
soon
one
as you see
want.
Lester Holt, then
Oh,
you can start listening again, because that's when it goes back to Lester and he's just like, that's all coming up tonight on Dateline. Then you're off, So
I like me some.
don't
Lester
watch that
Holt.
don't watch that first 45 seconds, because they're going to give too much. It's like this. It's like, they make that show for when there were commercials and shit was live, but now you're streaming it. You've already committed to watching the show. You don't need to be
They're gonna suck you in and
Right.
then let you leave.
right. I'm already watching this shit.
Yeah,
Don't-
you can pause it anytime you want and come back to it.
Well, it's part of why I started watching murder stuff on YouTube, is because you can find a 15 to 20-minute little
Right.
documentary about something, because the 45-minute ones that they did for TV with commercials include 14 recaps
Yeah.
that you could
Yeah,
completely cut out and do without. Like, I just
Yeah.
fucking watch that.
The first 20 seconds coming out of every commercial is recapping the whole fucking thing.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you watch
yeah,
it, if you're streaming it years later, there are no commercials. So it's just segment after segment where they go back to the beginning and start the whole fucking thing over. It's
What a world
Makes you
we
want
live
to.
in.
It makes you want to murder somebody,
Fix
doesn't it? Yeah, that's how. I mean, it's like, how do you even, it's just like Monday morning quarterbacking, but I'm not looking to murder anybody. Although my wife did fall down the stairs this week, and it didn't, it wasn't like, it's not going to
Andy,
make the
we're
show.
gonna get
Didn't
out of
take?
here. You have confessed to enough crimes tonight. Do not.
It's done.
Yeah. We'll come back next week and do the
Andy-
staircase. Okay.
Andy ran
Crazy
over
thing
with
was
his
the
shirt,
owl.
but then when he saw who it was, he
Yeah.
was like, wait, hold on.
You can only catch a glimpse of the owl coming into the security camera.
An owl attacked her. I swear to God. All right. I love you guys.
All right, I'll see you out there.
Thank you
man.
guys for I'll see you in a couple of days, buddy. Chad, I hope your ankle feels better. And we love all of you, and thank you for being out there. If you haven't, if you don't know that we have a Patreon, let me tell you about it. We hope that you will join. It's just $5 a month, and it's patreon.com/ Issues with Andy, and just join. We do all of this and a little bit more, and we'd love to have you over there. If not, we like you still here on YouTube, although I truly think this should be a Patreon only episode. I think there's a lot of confessions here that probably shouldn't just be floating around on YouTube. But so
Legend
it's
confession.
possible that this won't even be on YouTube, and we'll just put it on Patreon. And if you're seeing it, it's because you made that commitment, and we thank you for it. We love you. We'll see you next week. Later.